Um, Kat, please save us from whatever happened here.
All I can think about is sitting here being like, no, I don't have any friends you can date. And it's like, how is this an escape from real life? I've had too many of those conversations. So let me go to my saved. I'm going to be prepared for like most things this year. Okay. So, oof. Film students can't sit through movies anymore.
Oh.
Have you heard about this?
Yeah.
So I was looking into this because I saw this article earlier this week, and it's like a professor comes out and said, like, well, 20 of them, 20 professors are kind of like, yeah, film students are having trouble sitting through films, and they can't answer basic questions about them.
Oh.
But the anecdote that I kept hearing, and why I didn't know more about it until now, is that University of Wisconsin Madison, Jeff Smith said he asked his students about the ending of the film 1962 Francois Truffaut, I think, film Jules and Jim. And I'm like, yeah, but in their defense, 1962 French movie is not all movies, and it's the French had a habit at the time of taking like all the interesting parts out of like World War movies. Yeah. It just being like, oh, the ennui. And I'm like, so maybe that's not the best. And I kind of blew it off. And then it turns out like all movies, they're not. Some professors have taken to assigning portions of films, which I don't love. And I imagine that film professors are not thrilled about it either, but like you try and teach the people in front of you. Yeah. So like I don't know how I feel about this, because I feel like a lot of film class is watching movies that aren't good. They're just more popular than other movies in their day. And so, on the one hand, I'm like, we don't have to keep showing everybody Last of the Mohicans forever. Decent cinematography. Everybody should see Singing in the Rain, though. Like,
yeah,
we could do better. I'm hoping what it makes is actual film classes more relevant. That we're not just like, these are good because they're old and slow.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
it's a hard thing. I was thinking about this because I ran across a similar story, probably same story. Like, I have watched some really boring movies that I've really loved, and I've watched some old movies, like I don't like Sunset Boulevard. I think it's fine. I loved the Tarkovsky movie Stalker. It is one of the most boring movies I've ever seen. It was also sort of revolutionary and really interesting. And so, like, I wouldn't know how to gauge what to show film students, but I do think there are movies that were sort of revolutionary for their time that it would be good to see. And, like, I just don't have a good answer.
Well, yeah, you have to see the movie. I forget what film it's from, but where the house frame crashes
The
on
Charlie
the guy.
Chaplin.
The Charlie
Yeah.
Chaplin
I
thing.
felt the same way when y'all took me to see Oppenheimer.
Fuck off. That movie was so good.
To me, Oppenheimer is a perfect example. I found it pretty boring. I think it's a really good movie. I don't want to see it again. Like, I think it's really well done. No complaints. Not my favorite.
So I actually have like a weird, like, opposite experience with film class. So I took a history of film class when I was in college. It was probably one of my favorite classes. We went over cinematography and everything like that. And the teacher focused on having films from all over the world as films we would watch. And she wanted to make sure they were films that weren't ones that everybody knows. Some of them, I mean, inevitably were going to be that way. Eat, Drink, Man, Woman was one that's a pretty popular not Chinese film, but it's a pretty popular Asian film. But we watched that one, but we also watched Treasure of the Sierra Madre. a lot of people nowadays have not seen that movie.
Heard of it, never seen it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really good, by the way. But none of the movies she picked were duds. And when we were when she was like, she chose this as an example to talk about when we were choosing Spanish film or Spanish language film. Everyone asked why we didn't watch Pan's Labyrinth, and she said the fact that all of you asked me why we didn't watch Pan's
It's why
Labyrinth
we didn't watch
is
Pan's
why we
Labyrinth.
haven't watched it, even if you've heard, because you've all heard of it, you all have a preconception of what it is.
Yeah.
So we're gonna watch All About My Mother instead, which
Interesting.
that's a really good movie. It made me cry a lot, and I got to see Antonio Banderas in drag. That was awesome.
Always worth it.
Always worth it. But no, she made a point to pick those kinds of films. None of them were duds. They were all fascinating in some way. And then at the end of the semester, we watched Toy Story. Keeping it like with all of this knowledge of framing and color and all that in mind. Man, that's a really competent, really good film when you have all that in mind.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
I'm
Okay.
so sorry. Just a tiny mini rant.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so
yeah.
Brandon Sanderson, right, does a lecture series, and he's talking about fantasy and sci-fi movies, but he was talking about stakes in a movie, and how you raise the stakes and how you change the stakes. And this man has all of fantasy and sci-fi to work with, and he's like, you know what the best version of this I've ever seen? While you were sleeping. Because while you were sleeping, she knows she wants this guy. She's in love with this man. And the whole movie is convincing you that she doesn't love this man. She doesn't love Peter Gallagher. She loves Bill Pullman. But you, the audience, are like, but she has to marry Peter Gallagher. Of course, that's what she's always wanted.
The happy ending she wants.
Of course she should be with Bill Pullman, but she doesn't know that, and the movie doesn't know that. And the movie convinces you that it's not going to go that way. And then at the end of the movie, she chooses Bill Pullman. Spoiler alert. Chooses Bill Pullman. And
You can't be
you're
spoiled after you
ecstatic.
spoiled
You're
it.
ecstatic. And like, there's so many film professors who are like, this is the movie that is famous, that is very good, that shows you this thing. And they don't take into account all the other times that whatever thing that they're trying to teach you has been done.
Yeah, and yeah.
And so like, I don't know. You have to pull from different things, and
Yeah.
no film professor should be expected to have seen every movie ever. But like, I don't know. There could be things that you might think, as somebody that studied film a long time ago, are really good, and they probably are. But just choose something different, something that people aren't familiar with.
Yeah, and we had some of the kids some of the other students in our class had taken her class before, like taken this specific chunk of film, because it was filmed specifically from the 1940s to present, so it was out of the silent film era.
Yeah.
I'm sad we missed the silent film era. That would have been fascinating.
Yeah.
But I'm just curious. I've never watched silent film.
No, I think it's a good era to go over.
Yeah.
But like it's too broad.
Yeah, but she picked different films from what the class had seen before. There were some that were repeats, like a couple, but some of those that she picked were hard.
Yeah.
And she would always spend like the shorter class period talking about like the history of whatever film we're about to watch, why it's important, the things we're going to be looking out for.
Yeah.
Sometimes it would be, no, here's the history behind what we're watching, which was the case with one film that I will never watch again. It was a really good movie. And
Making it relevant.
making it relevant. And then the next class period we would watch it. And then after the film we would have like open discussion,
Yeah.
what we noted about it. She was just a great professor. I'm sad I've forgotten her name, but I think she's the only one that does it at
I think
Collin.
her name was Dr. Mrs. Haney, who was my film professor that I loved.
Yeah.
So if you could take her name in honor if you
Cool.
want. Dr.
All-
Mrs. Haney.
All that being said, you got to be kind of bored sometimes
Yeah.
when you're watching a movie. You got to be just a little bit.
I think I would love to do I could never do a film appreciation.
Stop.
You
stop
just
talking
turned my
shit in the
volume
comments.
all the way up and you're blowing out my ears.
And is that why you're yelling?
Stop talking shit in the comments. We're almost done.
So
Surprisingly,
We're almost done.
Go ahead.
could never do a whole film appreciation class because it's too broad for me. I would love to do like a 40s
horror,
through
a
now,
sci-fi.
like horror
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
American storytelling in like throughout digital film becoming regular or something like
how Americans saw teenagers through
like the more you can
60s
narrow it
to
down,
the 80s, like
the more.
Yeah.
And maybe I should
Yeah.
because if you can't do,
Yeah, I
give me
mean,
money, I'll make movies.
this show's going to be 4 hours long.
yeah,
I don't have
we
a
all
third
picked
story.
long
good.
topics.
So anyway, there is a revival of like what they're calling the letterboxed generation that is doing some appreciation in film. I'm hoping this will come out, that film could come out stronger. History of film, you'd understand it better. We don't have to talk about An Affair to Remember forever. Some Like It Hot was only okay. Like, find the real ones that are good and get rid of just the people have told me this is an amazing film, so I have to think it's an amazing film. That we could use some freshness and reanalyzing among the film buff community.
Yeah.
It'd be good.